Hey Aubrey, how's everything going today? How you
I'm
feeling?
great. How are you, Lindsay?
Good, really good. It's a Friday as we're recording today, which is fantastic. But Aubrey, I have a question for you today.
All right, let's hear it.
Have you ever felt like you were in the Twilight Zone?
Yes. So just last night, my sister, who lives in Idaho, it's like a 15-hour
Mhm.
drive from
Wow.
here, showed up. She's in town. Her husband's here for a medical conference. It was kind of last minute. So she surprised me and just showed
Oh,
up. She hasn't been to Arizona very many times. I did not expect to see her. So I kind of was like, am I in the Twilight Zone? This is not, I
wow.
would not expect to see her. It was really
That's
funny.
so funny. That's very cool. Did your husband know that this was going to be a surprise?
No, no,
Just
neither was
popped
new. She
in.
just was like, "I'm in town," and she just popped by, and it's not like she lives close, right? It's really funny that
That's
she
so
didn't let me know
funny.
she was gonna be here.
Wow, very cool. So Twilight Zone. I love that. All right. Well, what are we getting into today, Aubrey? Today's episode is inspired by a student question. Yeah.
Yeah, we're going to read this question. It's about slang and a
Mhm.
really good suggestion for how you can remember the meaning behind slang words. You wanna read the question, Lindsay?
Yes. All right. This is from Brett. And Brett says, is it possible to explain the story behind slang? That would make it much easier for me to remember. Is he asking
Yeah.
about a specific slang or just slang in general?
Yeah, I was asking about slang in general. He was
Hmm.
saying, it's kind of hard to remember all this vocabulary. And it's true. If you have some background, if you know where it's from, it is
Mm.
faster and more effective to learn slang and idioms when you know a little bit about, like, where did this come from?
Yes, 100%. So it's anytime you can do that. And if someone, you can even ask someone if you're talking with a native speaker, for
Totally.
example, and they use slang, say, where does that come from, by the way? Do you know?
Yeah,
Start a
and they might
conversation
not.
around that.
They might not
Right.
know, right? My teenagers will use slang, and if I asked them, they'd be like, "TikTok?" Because
TikTok.
sometimes slang is just made up out of, but sometimes there is. It's from a movie or a
Yes.
TV show or something happened that sort of made this word become popular, and it's interesting to know that background.
Yeah, sometimes I assume it just came from media or TikTok or kids invented it, but it did come like things do
Yeah.
have roots.
Yep.
Usually most things come from somewhere,
Yeah,
right?
usually, right.
Yeah. All right. So we're going to give our listeners three of them today. Three pieces of
Exactly.
slang. What's the first one?
So, first is warp speed. You may have heard this used
Mm.
just to mean very fast. I'm doing this at warp speed, but maybe you didn't know where it comes from unless you watch
Mm-hmm.
Star Trek. Are you a Trekkie,
Yes.
Lindsay, by
I'm not
chance?
a
I
Trekkie. My
wouldn't
brother was
expect
a
you to be.
Trekkie. My brother was a big Trekkie when
My
he was a
parents were.
teenager. Really?
Big time, big time. They were always watching Star Trek, and so I was very
Nice.
familiar with this phrase, warp speed. But yeah, in Star Trek, the show, when the ships move like into faster than light speed, they call it warp speed.
Ah.
And this was adopted into English just to mean extremely fast.
Interesting. Okay. And fantastic. Comes straight from Star Trek. I love
Yep,
that.
exactly. So, some examples you might say, you need to move at warp speed if we are going to finish in time. So, just a way to tell
Hmm.
someone, like, you need to pick up the pace. We
Pick
need
up
to
the
move more
pace.
quickly here.
Or you could say, I feel like I've been working at warp speed, but I still have so much to do. Right?
Exactly, right?
Yes.
And you may hear someone say this and they're not intentionally quoting Star Trek. It's just really been adopted into our speech to
Yes.
where you're just saying very fast and not even
That's,
realizing that's the root of it.
oh, yeah, that's an important point. I mean, just last week we taught, how about them apples, right? And that
Right.
one is definitely kind of a reference to a movie. But in this case, these are not, these are broader. They go beyond just that specific meaning, if that makes sense.
Yes, exactly, right?
Mhm.
I'm not literally talking about a spaceship moving at faster than light
Mhm.
speeds. I'm saying I need to finish this project more quickly. We've like
Yes.
made it into this slang phrase that we
Yes.
use all the time. And whether you have ever watched Star Trek or not, you might use it just because you've heard it.
Love it. And then number 2, our second one for our listeners today is Twilight Zone. Yeah?
Yeah.
What I
So you
asked you at the
asked
top of
me
the episode. Yeah.
You asked if I've ever felt like I was in the Twilight Zone, and I will say this sometimes, something is eerie or odd or unexpected, be like, "Oh, I feel like I'm
Mm,
in the Twilight Zone." And this is
right.
it was an old black and white TV show that
Yeah.
would always create every episode was different, and it would create this just really strange, reality for someone that would be like different than what you would expect. Something would just be strange. Maybe animals were talking or something.
Oh, weird.
And then, there was this really famous narration where it'd be like, you're entering the Twilight Zone.
Yeah.
And so then the whole like, it's kind of like Black Mirror now
Mhm.
on Netflix, actually, where it's
Hmm.
just sort of everything about society is changed in some way. And
Mhm.
it's normal to everyone in the show, but would be very strange to you.
Ooh, sounds eerie,
It is
right?
kind of eerie. Yeah.
Yes, yes. All right, and then another sample sentence, Aubrey, what would be another example here?
Yes, I might say, is this the Twilight Zone? I do not understand why she did that.
Yeah,
And
so any
another way we'll hear this, you've probably heard someone saying, like, I feel like I'm taking crazy pills, where you're just like, something
mm,
is very strange. Is it
yes.
me? Is everybody else crazy?
Right, it's good to be able to have I mean, crazy times we're going through right now,
Yeah,
right? So
right.
it's a
Got to be
lot
able
of
to talk
moments
about it.
lately where I felt like it might be useful, this expression, but sometimes it's nice to be able to comment on that, to comment in a situation that doesn't feel right, something feels strange, and to have this slang at your disposal is fantastic for our
Yeah,
listeners.
because it would maybe even break the connection if something really strange is happening and no one says anything about it,
Mhm,
right? We
mhm.
need to like recognize and
Yep,
talk about it so that we can
yes.
all realize, okay, something's weird.
Exactly. All right, so number 3 is toast. All right.
Yeah,
Yes,
this
tell
means
us about
like
this.
in serious trouble, and it
Mhm.
comes from the original Ghostbusters film. There have been a lot of
Oh.
like Ghostbusters 2 and 3 and remakes now. There's like a reboot that's actually really
Mhm.
great. The new Ghostbusters movies.
I've
Have you
seen
seen
it,
any of
yeah.
those, Lindsay?
Mhm.
With the
Yep,
tiny
yep.
marshmallow men?
Yeah, I've
But
seen it, yeah, it's good. Yeah.
in the original one, Bill Murray says, "This chick is toast," before
Right.
they like, use their laser
Plus the
guns.
ghost. Mhm.
Yes, on one of the ghosts. And this became part of our vernacular, right? That
That's
will
so
say
funny.
you'll use toast to mean like I'm in trouble or that something is like ruined.
See, with this one, I never knew that it came from Ghostbusters. I never knew that.
That's funny. Yeah, I
I
didn't
just
either
thought
actually until I was searching for this. I'm like, I want some fun slang that
yeah.
is from fun things, from TV shows or movies.
Right.
And yeah, because we use this all the time. We don't realize it's originally from Ghostbusters.
Interesting. So here's a couple sample sentences for our listeners. "I think I'm toast. I'll never get this done on time." Right?
Gosh, and I'm like, I'm in trouble. I'm in, I
Mhm.
can't do this. Yeah. Or, oh, you think you can beat me at this game, but you're toast. This is like a good way to trash talk, right? Be like, you're in
Right.
trouble because I'm going to beat you.
Right, right, exactly. Or looks like this microwave is toast, right? And we're not talking about putting bread in the microwave and
Nope.
toasting it.
This means it's not working. Like it's broken.
Yeah.
We'll often say this if something is no longer functioning, we'll be like, ugh, it's toast.
It's toast, it's old, it's done, it's
It's done.
defunct,
It's, yep.
right?
Mhm.
Yeah. Okay, Aubrey, role play time. So here we are meeting at a gym for a class. All
Yes. I'll
right?
start us out.
Yes.
Are we in the Twilight Zone? This place is totally empty and it's usually so packed this time of day.
You're right. It's weird. Maybe there's a big game on or something. Is the World Series this week?
Oh, yep, that's probably it. Sorry I'm late, by the way. I was moving at warp speed trying to get ready in time, but I still couldn't get out of the door.
No worries. Hey, look, Marcy is subbing. We're toast.
Oh, no, you're right. Her workouts are the most intense. Last time she subbed, I was sore for a week.
Yes, yes. Actually, that reminds me of another situation. Last night I went to my workout Orange Theory and there were like 4 people in the class and I walked in, I was like, I knew it was Halloween and it was like a 6:30 class, but I figured there'd be more than 4 people there. So it kind of felt sort of, yeah,
That would feel
Twilight
eerie if you're
Zone-ish. It was
used to it being really crowded.
packed. Yes,
Yeah,
packed.
you did have a Twilight Zone moment. Like,
That's
I feel
right.
like
That's
I'm in the
right.
Twilight Zone.
Exactly. All right. So first, Aubrey, in this conversation, you said, "Are we in the Twilight Zone? This place is totally empty and it's usually packed." Right?
Yes,
Mhm.
exactly. So this is a fun way to point out that something is unusual or odd or different than
Mhm.
than you feel like it should be.
Mhm. And then what did you say?
I was apologizing for being late. I said, swear I was moving at warp speed, but I still didn't get out of the door in time. Which
Yeah.
means I was trying, I was getting ready as fast as I could.
Exactly. And now I'm seeing we have the tough teacher, right?
Ooh,
Oh,
yeah.
hey, look, Marcy is subbing. We are toast, right? I
Yeah,
mean,
that means we're in trouble. Like,
yeah.
we do see
Yeah.
that it's a teacher that's harder, it's more
Yeah.
intense. Oh, we're
Yeah.
toast.
Our muscles will be sore tomorrow, right?
Our
Yeah.
muscles will be toast. That's also you could say that, right?
That's
It's, like,
right.
extremely sore. There's a lot of
Yeah.
different ways you could use toast.
I love these. I love these because they're so ingrained in our culture, these 3 slang expressions.
Yeah.
So I would definitely encourage our listeners to use these. What do you think, Aubrey?
Yes, absolutely. And they're so fun. And now I love this recommendation here to learn the background for slang and idioms. It
Mhm.
does help you remember them so you can add them to your active vocabulary.
Well, that actually could be a great episode idea. How do you ask someone about where an idiom comes from? I know we've done an episode on how do you ask someone if an idiom is still used or if it's still okay to
Mm,
use it, but I don't know if we've ever asked where it comes from or what's the background.
yeah, that's a great idea. Hit follow, guys. We'll share that soon.
Yes.
And if you missed episode 2308, Michelle and Lindsay talked about a great slang phrase, how bougie, one slang expression to comment on taste. So scroll up
Mhm.
and get that one if you missed it.
Yeah. And that is the takeaway for today, right? It's adding color to your conversations. This is something that we focus on a lot in our brand new C1 course, which just went live, I believe, last week, a few weeks ago. And that's
Yes.
now open, available. The special promo is over by now, I believe, but it is available. And adding color is adding life to your language, Aubrey. Yeah.
Yes, exactly right. You want to be using slang and idioms. You want to push up to that C1 level so that you can have all of the conversations you want in English.
Yeah. So, guys, go on over to othersenglish.com/C1 and get in that course. All right, Aubrey, you have a good day.
Awesome. You too. See you next
All right.
time.
Bye.
Bye.